According to a recent Newsweek report, Venezuela has reportedly asked Iran for a fleet of long-range drones, aircraft capable of flying up to 600 miles. That distance is enough to put several U.S. military sites in the Caribbean within striking range. Bases in Puerto Rico and Cuba, once considered comfortably out of reach, would suddenly fall inside a potential combat envelope. And it's not just the land installations. The Caribbean right now hosts U.S. Navy warships, surveillance aircraft, and logistics vessels, assets that could be vulnerable if these drones were ever armed. The report also mentions that Venezuela has sought electronic warfare kits and passive detection systems, hinting at a strategy to track and jam enemy sensors. It's the kind of development that changes the balance of deterrence in an instant. So the question is, how close are we to seeing these systems in action? If Venezuela were to acquire those drones, what could they actually reach? Let's imagine a 600-mile circle drawn from the Venezuelan coast. Inside it lie Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Guantánamo Bay in Cuba. These are not just names on a map. They host airfields, intelligence hubs, and supply depots that support American operations across the region. In Puerto Rico alone, U.S. forces rotate fighter jets, patrol aircraft, and unmanned systems through local bases. Surveillance planes scan maritime routes. Drones monitor shipping lanes and regional traffic. If even one long-range drone managed to get through, the consequences could be serious. Fuel depots, radar stations, or parked aircraft could become easy targets. That's why the Newsweek story has drawn attention in Washington and beyond. It suggests a future where, for the first time in decades, U.S. outposts in the Caribbean are within potential reach of a regional power. So if Venezuela's drones ever flew toward U.S. positions, could America stop them? The short answer? Probably yes, but not without risk. Modern U.S. ships carry layered defenses designed for precisely that scenario. Long-range missiles like the SM-6 can intercept drones or aircraft before they get close. Closer to the hull, electronic jammers and rapid-fire cannons form the last barrier, but defense has limits. Drones can fly low, appear small on radar, and attack in numbers. If they come in swarms or under electronic cover, even advanced systems could be overwhelmed for brief moments, and that's where tension grows. In the unknowns, would detection systems spot them early enough? Would rules of engagement allow quick retaliation? These are the questions that keep commanders awake when the radar screens light up. Across the Caribbean, the sound of engines and propellers is becoming constant. The United States has been quietly building one of its largest regional presences in years. A deployment that includes destroyers, support ships, and surveillance aircraft moving through the narrow sea lanes that curve between the islands. Each ship carries an invisible weight, the ability to strike, defend, or deter within minutes. Their radars sweep the horizon, their missile silos stand ready. From the sea, the Caribbean looks peaceful. But beneath the calm waves lies a dense web of sensors, submarines, and patrol routes that stretch from Florida to the coast of Venezuela. And now, another shadow is approaching. The Gerald Ford, the U.S. Navy's most advanced aircraft carrier, is reportedly on its way to the region. Its arrival is not symbolic, it's strategic. A single carrier strike group brings around 70 aircraft, thousands of personnel, and the full spectrum of modern naval power. Fighter jets, electronic warfare planes, and refueling aircraft can take off and reach almost any point in the southern Caribbean within an hour. The Ford's escorts, destroyers and cruisers armed with long-range missiles, expand its reach even further. Together, they create a moving fortress capable of projecting power over an area larger than most countries. Satellite imagery already shows heightened activity at U.S. ports in Florida and Puerto Rico and increased maritime patrols across the Lesser Antilles. It's a clear message. The Caribbean is no longer a quiet passage. It's a staging ground. To an outsider, the buildup may look like preparation for deterrence. But to anyone watching closely, it feels more like a slow tightening of a net. Each ship and aircraft taking its position, as if waiting for an order that hasn't yet been spoken. Recent reports have hinted that the U.S. may be considering more direct options. Officials haven't confirmed it publicly, but several outlets, including Al Jazeera and Reuters, mention the possibility of using Tomahawk cruise missiles if American assets were threatened. Such weapons could target military installations inside Venezuela, from command posts to drone hangars. At the same time, the U.S. Navy's newest and most powerful vessels, like the Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier, are either in the region or on their way. Each carrier group brings dozens of fighter jets, surveillance planes, and escort ships. Together, they represent hundreds of missiles and thousands of personnel within a few days' reach of Venezuela's coastline. It's a show of force meant to deter aggression, but one wrong signal could ignite something far bigger. If these trends continue, the Caribbean could become the most militarized it's been since the early 1960s. The difference today is that it's not a contest of superpowers. It's a clash of range, technology, and perception. Will Venezuela actually receive those drones from Iran? Will the U.S. deploy more carriers and strike groups to contain the threat? Or are we watching a new kind of Cold War forming just south of American shores? One thing is certain: the map has changed. With every new weapon added to the region, every drone, every missile, every ship, the distance between tension and confrontation grows thinner. And as Newsweek warned, a 600-mile range might be just enough to redraw the limits of safety in the Caribbean. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. The situation in the Caribbean is still unfolding, and what happens next could redefine the balance of power in the Western Hemisphere. We'll keep following how far these new alliances, weapons, and deployments go, and whether diplomacy can cool things down before it's too late. If you found this analysis useful, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and share your thoughts below. Because what's happening out there on the open sea might shape the headlines of tomorrow. Until next time, stay informed and stay aware.